What's up, YouTube? Today, I think I want to talk about fear and shame, particularly when it comes to combat, self defense, bullying, stuff like that. Because, you know, I'm teaching a lot of stuff on my channel, I'm showing my training, and I act cocky to be funny because I think it's funny that I'm not actually all that tough, but because people keep saying I think I'm tough, I just laugh about it and just make it a joke. I made a whole character, J Jack, the hippie ninja. Uh, yeah, so, when I was first exposed to physical violence, the very first time, at least on a degree that, actually felt fearful and threatening. I think I was probably 10 years old. I think I was in sixth grade. No, fifth grade. I was 10 years old. And some kids were making fun of me for being poor and living in a trailer. And at first I didn't care, but they just kept going all day. And it really started to get to me. And so when it came to a point that they were actually starting to get more than rude and starting to be a little rough and bumpy, I just instantly just pushed the guy and just got mad, and I pushed one of the guys, and he we grabbed each other and grappled for maybe 10, 20 seconds before I ended up getting shoved down, and I kept on trying to get up, and he kept shoving me back down every time I tried to get up. And it felt so shitty and humiliating. And there were a couple of people there. I felt so helpless because literally all I was trying to do was stand back up, and he wouldn't let me. And, I had a lot of experiences like that. I had one time where in PE class, the next year, this is when I started getting really fucked with. Sixth or seventh grade, actually, was when I really, really started getting fucked with. So this one kid is showing off to his friends that he's tough and cool or whatever by throwing shit at me during PE class. And at this point in time, my mom, the only parent I really lived with, her only advice was to ignore it. Terrible advice. So I would ignore shit, and they would just keep going. It would never stop. Because the thing is, they wanted something to happen, right? They wanted an excuse to, escalate and be a real bully. And some people didn't need to escalate, they just went for it. But this guy wanted to escalate. He wanted to have the whole back and forth to make himself look that much tougher. And I ignored him the whole time, and at one point we're leaving class, and he just knees me in my back. It doesn't hurt, he didn't do it very well, but it was annoying, and he pushed me basically. And so I turned around, I snapped, and I pushed him. And he immediately, he grabbed my shirt and held one hand like this, and my instinct was to reach my left hand out and just grab his hand so he couldn't punch me. And that made him laugh. I'm not really sure why, but I immediately felt at the moment that he was laughing because it was pointless. And so I was terrified. I've had a lot of experiences like that. And come to find out that at least that time, I actually had the physical advantage. Not only that, but I'd played it smart. I had grabbed his hand. Made it so he couldn't hit me. But people will use these psychological tricks to help their bullying along. And a lot of people won't admit this because they want to act like it's all their toughness, it's all the machismo. But the truth is, most bullies use their mind to fuck with you more than their hands. Most, not all. There are plenty who don't bother with the mind stuff. But there's a lot more that rely on it. And, it took me getting my ass kicked so many times before I finally realized that the fear is going to be the same regardless of what I do, and more than likely the injuries are probably going to be the same. So I may as well try. So from about 13 and on, that was when I truly, truly started to knuckle down. Like, I need to be a good fighter. I need to. It is just a law of the universe. Now, I'm still not very tough. I generally avoid fights, both because I don't like hurting people. I think that liking to hurt people is weird and you need help. But, part of it is that I'm still scared. And that's fine, is what I realized. Because why the fuck would you want to be comfortable with getting into fights? That's retarded. You're going to get injured and die. You get CTE, spinal injuries, break your hands. I already broke my hand once because I relied on anger in a snap moment. I shouldn't have used anger. Should have kept using that fear. Once I started embracing the fear fully, I didn't fully embrace the fear until I was like, 17, 18. But at that point, I'm just ready to go. Just like, no, maybe 16 was the first time. I mean, I still had some, losses or L's that I, basically didn't do what I could have done. But in hindsight, I'm learning that my training over the years and the fact that I always spent my time outside, yeah, I was thin, but I was still stronger than I looked. I still had more endurance than people thought. And it turns out my pain tolerance was way higher than the average non-fighter person, you know. And I've got a really tough skull. And I found out that using fear and practicing it and trying to visualize in experiences of fear can improve your speed. You get comfortable with it, and it gives me all these benefits. You know. But basically, my point is this. If you're getting picked on or beat the crap out of, even if you have a physical advantage and don't realize it, you're still at some disadvantage. If it's not physical, it's mental or social, right? If someone is beating down on you, they have an advantage and they know it. So you shouldn't feel ashamed that it happens to you. You should feel disgust at them for stooping so low. That's why we have weight classes, right? Someone 250 pounds of muscle picks on me, and I used to think I either had to fight him or shut up. But now, I'll just pull out a machete and be like, what? Now I'm going to win. You don't like that, do you? Because the truth is, they're just cowards. They wouldn't pick a fight with someone smaller if they weren't a coward. So don't judge yourself. Embrace the fear. Don't fight it. Don't deny it. But don't become obsessed with it. And you can use anger for training, visualizing someone you want to beat the crap out of. But please, for the love of goodness, don't be stupid and just rely on anger. Don't be ashamed. Yes, be afraid, and that's a good thing. Don't be ashamed of being afraid. So that's, just my thoughts on it that I got for you today. Catch y'all later, YouTube.